The technique for cues is the same technique that we use for starting a piece, except in this case, the piece has already begun and we're just initiating another voice or bringing out something in another voice. So there are 3 or 4 parts. There's the pre-prep, in this case, which is getting the voice that you're trying to cue, getting their attention, sort of like saying, hey, something's about to happen. Then there's the prep, which needs to be an active beat. Then there's the downbeat or the ictus of the cue itself, and then there's the rebound from it. And it's useful to have eye contact all throughout that. And so, for example, in slow motion, if we're going to cue something on beat 1 without the group, it might look like this. In slow motion, 1, 2, we get their attention, then we prep, we cue, and then we move on. It's really useful to maintain eye contact through the ictus and even beyond it. Otherwise, we kind of disengage in the middle of it. It might look like this. It's like starting a piece like this and right down into the score. It just doesn't maintain the energy through the event that we're trying to create. So let's try this with the group, and what we're going to do is we'll bring in someone, we'll cue something on beat 1, and then we'll try it on beat 2, beat 3, and beat 4. And we'll try a couple of variations on it because we can do it just with our right hand and our eyes and eye contact, or we can use our left hand to, in a simplistic way, just say, now you play. Now you play, while the right hand keeps track of the pulse. So let's try that. We'll start on beat 1. Let's do the same beat 1 cue, but now I'll use the left hand more. I'll use the left hand first to signal that something's about to happen, and then the left hand to actually activate that cue. So same one, beat 1. So left hand just floats up and says something's about to happen, and then just stays there until the moment of the cue. And so it's very useful. Let's try beat 2. We'll try it just with the right hand first, and then we'll add the left hand. The breath is incredibly important there. It really is in all of the beats, but to help activate something. The breath helps us not only synchronize pulse, but creates that active upbeat. All right, let's try the left hand for that. Still beat 2. Now beat 2, and actually anything other than beat 1, can be tricky because if we don't de-emphasize the beat prior to the preparatory beat, everything looks big. It would look like this. Let's try beat 2 again. And I'm not going to change the size of the pattern. You're going to see how if it's all big, it's hard to tell where the prep, where the cue is. So beat 2 again. Not only did I not breathe or use my left hand, but everything looks the same size. And the way to avoid that is to do the cues version of the passive or dead beat that we talked about in terms of starting pieces. In this case, we de-emphasize, under-emphasize 2 beats before the actual cue. So in this case, if we rebound from beat 1, that's the big rebound to cue beat 2, we're going to have a small rebound from beat 4, 2 before that beat 2 cue. By doing that, it makes the beat 1 rebound seem bigger. Without the group, it looks like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. So by making the rebound from 4 small, why? Because nothing in this case interesting, relatively speaking, happens on that downbeat. By de-emphasizing that, it makes it easier to emphasize the rebound from 1 and show something that's other than 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. We go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, which looks and sounds like this. We'll try the beat 2 again. that's an exaggerated version of it, but it's a good way of bringing something out by de-emphasizing 2 beats before the actual event or 1 beat before the preparatory cue. All right, let's go to beat 3. We'll try first with just our right hand. Now we can de-emphasize more. I didn't really do a good job of de-emphasizing 2 beats before. Let's try the same thing. I don't need my left hand if I de-emphasize effectively. Let's try beat 3 again. So I kind of just stop on beat 1 because I'm not really concerned what happens on beat 2. I'm concerned about the prep from beat 2 to prep beat 3. Oh, let's start with our left hand now. Okay, let's try beat 4, just with the right hand. So in that case, we basically stop on beat 2 because we're not so concerned what happens on beat 3, but we want to make sure that the rebound from 3 looks big to convincingly prep beat 4. Okay, let's try adding our left hand for this. This is a pretty intuitive one because we just go out and then back in. So here's the left hand for beat 4. And so that, if that's intuitive, beat 2 is not so intuitive, right? Because we're coming into the center. So we have to make sure that we don't kind of cross our planes here, but that we still have a sense of that. So we have to verticalize it slightly to make sure that we can still show cross or into beat 2, so it's a different part of the pattern. Beat 3 is more intuitive if we have 1, 2, 3, because we can effectively rebound to the left and then come across our body for beat 4. And then to beat 4 is pretty intuitive. 1, 2, out, in, prep from 3 to beat 4, and then prepping beat 1 is the most intuitive because we all often want to give a big upbeat from 4. So 1, 2, 3, up, and then down to beat 1. Let's try cueing in a 3-4 pattern, and we'll do it the same way as we did in the 4-4. First we'll do it just with our right hand and eye contact, and then we'll try using our left hand. Same principles apply here, that to make it clear we want to slightly de-emphasize 2 beats before the cue happens, or 1 beat before the preparatory rebound. So here's cueing on beat 1 in 3-4. Let's try adding our left hand for that. Let's go to beat 2. So first, just our right hand and eye contact. So notice for that, this is the not so intuitive one because it's the beat right after 1 where I have to de-emphasize the rebound from beat 3, the last beat in the measure, to make sure I don't have a big upbeat because I don't care about that upbeat. What I really care about is 1, 2, small, 1, 2. The 1 is the preparatory beat to the action, which is the cue on beat 2. Oh, let's add our left hand to that. And now finally, let's go to beat 3. First, just with our right hand. So same issue there where we're going to de-emphasize 2 beats before the action happens, or the beginning of the cue. Now let's add our left hand to that. At their most basic level, cues just tell when to play, but really we can use them to do more than that, to tell how to play, the style, the dynamic. And that comes from both the pre-prep part of it, where we're just getting the attention of what we're cueing, and the prep, but really also the ictus and what happens after the ictus. And if we use it effectively, it can be more than just, yep, you play now. It can give a whole lot more expressive information. So, for example, let's try this in the Chester example we did earlier. And we'll first start on beat 1, and we'll use different kinds of cues to different styles. And you'll see from all 4 elements of the cue: pre-prep, prep, ictus, and rebound from it. All right, so let's try this on beat 1. Let's try another version of it. So all 4 parts will be there. They'll just have different styles to them: pre-prep, prep, ictus, and rebound. So you can see how from the very pre-prep there is a sense of this is the style, and then we just held it there. And then we activated, and even after that, and the rest of the group reacted also. Let's try another version of it. And good players will be looking for that sort of information, because if they're keeping track of the pulse themselves, the cue is really just a reminder of, yeah, I know I'm supposed to play there, give me some information beyond that, as opposed to the kind of cue which is, I have no idea where I'm supposed to play, please tell me when. Sometimes we have those sorts of cues, which is all just based off of confidence, or just saying, okay, that's when you play. But once the confidence is there, then we add an extra element on top of it. When the confidence is there, we don't have to emphasize quite so dramatically all 4 parts of this. We can get away with just even an eye contact cue. Because again, the player is already there, and we might be juggling multiple things, other voices, other issues, and then we just invite the player to come in using our eyes. Let's try that. How about we go to beat 3, a cue on beat 3, and so just eye contact it. Natalie was already making eye contact with me, and in some ways the cue was reversed. She was saying, hey, 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 I know something's about to happen. And then when it happened, I just checked in and go, yep, you are correct. And she was, and we went on from there. And that can be useful not only for just subtle moments like that, but if, let's say, you have a cue on beat 1 and a cue on beat 2, and there's a cue on beat 3, well, you can't cue them all using this pre-prep, prep, ictus and rebound method. So we might put the one on beat 2, for example, with eye contact. So it will look like without the group, 2, 3, 4. So that way, my left hand cued beat 1, my eye cued beat 2, and my right hand cued beat 3. So there are variations on this, some more subtle than others, but the basic cue has those 4 parts: the pre-prep, the prep, the ictus, and the rebound.